Hello and welcome to the Leaderboard. I'm not Meg Turney, I'm my friend Salinas, filling in next to your boy, Jared Wynn.
Doing your best to fill in.
Doing my best, those are big shoes to fill.
Yeah, or small shoes actually, but big shoes figuratively.
She's a professional.
She is, a real pro.
Let's talk esports, man.
Yeah, I guess we can do that.
One of the world's biggest talent agencies has just gotten involved in esports. IMG, who represents such clients as Lady Gaga and Snoop Dogg, they've just announced that they're signing with Cloud9, Dignitas, and SK Gaming. Entertainment agencies infiltrating esports? Jared, what does it all mean?
It means there's money in esports, which we know about already. We have signs of this every once in a while come up and say, hey, by the way, big money, big industry, this is happening. $1 billion of potential revenue by 2017. That's a big number, and it's a reality number. And when you have big agencies getting involved, it speaks to that. It is interesting that we're having entertainment agencies rather than sports agencies get involved. I think it speaks to the nature of the business right now. You don't really have the traditional sports path of a player goes through the amateur ranks and then goes to a drafting process, and they have to be represented negotiating with teams and so on and so forth. It's more about, okay, you have open tryouts like you have in the songwriting world or the acting world. You have people auditioning through their skill and expertise for roles with big teams and big organizations, and those teams and organizations represented. I think player rights is an entirely different thing. That may be where we see sports agents come in later on. We've already seen some agents like that. We have, of course, GGA, which is a big agency in esports owned by Twitch, so kind of a conflict there of interest. Where they fall in this whenever we have the big industries like IMG come in, or big companies like IMG come in, I should say, to the esports industry. That's something to be seen. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. They're not so well entrenched that they can't be uprooted for certain, even with their partnership with Twitch. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's inevitable. But what's not inevitable, what's more dynamic, is going to be the interaction between these new agencies coming in from the outside entertainment world and the existing ones that are trying to get a foothold that can't be uprooted from.
As far as I'm concerned, IMG has just answered the question. Is it a sport? It's entertainment.
Well, if you still had a question about that, that was...
Some people have the question.
Yeah, but probably not here. I think we are the chosen few who understand what we're dealing with here, and we'll be bringing this to future generations to come.
Speaking of the expansion of esports, YouTube has now officially announced their new streaming platform, which I'm sure we all heard about unless you're living under a rock. YouTube Gaming. The service is designed to compete with industry behemoth Twitch, who dominate the streaming landscape and have only further entrenched themselves after that $1 billion buyout by Amazon. It was a contentious couple of months leading up to that.
It was.
Amazon did what they did, and YouTube is answering back, I guess?
They are answering. Google wanted to buy Twitch to get a piece of that pie, or I should say the entire pie for themselves. There were some questions about, is it a monopolistic thing? Do Google have fears of being in trouble with agencies who get them in for having a monopoly going on? That's, I don't know. We don't ultimately know what happened with Amazon and with Google. Was Google outbid eventually by Amazon? It's hard to say. You hear rumblings about this or that. Doesn't matter now. What matters now is Amazon spent about $1 billion on Twitch, and Google had to come up with an alternative. They have a pretty strong video platform of their own, just so happens, in
Have
YouTube.
you heard of it?
Yeah. So the YouTube, Twitch, owning both would have been perhaps the conflict for Google there. Now they have just YouTube, and they're going to have YouTube Gaming now, which is, of course, a direct competitor to Twitch. Twitch's current competition, I should say, is not too strong. You have Azubu, you have MLG.TV, you have just about no one of note for Twitch.
Right.
I mean, it's small potatoes for them at this point. Azubu has made some splashy commitments. We're going to assign this guy to stream exclusively on our channel. It's going to be great for us. Not so much, perhaps, but they can't really have the capital they need to invest and invest and invest and invest and just keep pouring money into it until it works. And that's what's required at this point. YouTube Gaming, with Google and YouTube behind them, they can pour money until the money pot has broken itself, just with the pure amount of money being poured out.
But throwing money at something, so, when I go to Twitch, I want to watch live stuff. When I go to YouTube, I'm watching generally the same content, except just not live.
Right.
Throwing money at it, what does YouTube do that's better? How do they challenge Twitch?
Well, we're going to see. Twitch is not the only potential way to stream live content. It's one streaming platform. And I think it's going to be good for both Twitch and YouTube, actually, because Twitch is going to have to react with their own iteration, their own creativity now. Competition breeds inventiveness. It's a good thing for everyone involved. I'm looking forward to seeing YouTube Gaming come in the space. The only thing I have questions or fears about is exclusivity becoming a big thing. I don't want to see YouTube Gaming or Twitch gobble up big things exclusively, and you have to choose one or the other. That's inevitable, I think, That's kind of the downside to this, but ultimately I think it's a good thing because again, competition breeds innovation. It breeds healthy competition is a good thing for the industry as a whole. So I look forward to seeing YouTube gaming iterate, and I look forward to seeing Twitch have to respond to YouTube gaming. And they already have responded when YouTube Gaming came on and said, "Hey, we're launching ourselves, new players into the battle," and Twitch on the Twitter account made reference to Google Plus.
Staying on the topic of YouTube, YouTube will be further expanding on their new streaming services at this week's E3 event. I don't know if you heard, E3 is going on.
It is.
Speaking of which, if you're wondering where Meg Turney is,
At E3?
She's at E3. But that's not the only item of interest for fans of competitive gaming. At E3, we've already seen the latest edition of the Doom series debut with an emphasis on fast-paced gameplay, including multiplayer. And Capcom, your boy's favorite, has been showing off the latest build of the next-generation fighting game, Street Fighter V. 2009 was the last time we had a new Street Fighter title.
That's right.
It's about that time.
Yeah, and I like the look of it, actually. It's a little bit zoomed out, a little more emphasis on spacing and footsies, which to me is heaven. I like to hear that. They're having the inputs be a little simpler, which I'm not, going to be sold on one way or the other. I do like the idea, though, behind simplifying inputs because it puts more emphasis on, again, space control and the strategy, the tactics of the game. And I think that's what makes fighting games beautiful to begin with. It's the spacing, the tactics, the really fast-paced chess element of it. I don't think learning to do a 720 reliably is what makes Street Fighter great. For me anyway. That's how I feel about it. And I don't think one-frame links make Street Fighter great. I think the base gameplay makes Street Fighter great. So if they're emphasizing that more so in Street Fighter V than they have in previous, with Street Fighter IV, I am excited for that, personally.
Are you of the mind that you simplify the game mechanics and let your brain take over? And
See, I don't think it's simplification necessarily. I think it's smoothing things out. I think it's taking away unnecessary complications, which I guess is some form of simplification. But I think simplifying implies you're dumbing things down. I don't think they're doing that. I think they're taking away unnecessary complexity from elements of the game which don't make the game great. So that's the difference for me there. With Doom, I'm all about fast-paced FPS games making a good resurgence. I don't know if Doom is the game to do it. We'll see. The trailer looked cool. The gameplay example looked cool. It didn't look that fast, didn't look that quick. I like to see, I think that we saw a prior build actually some time ago that might have looked a little bit faster, in fact. So, there's a lot of time for them to iterate. They can do a lot of things with it still. They can make it a lot faster if they want to. They can make it a lot different in any number of ways. If you want to see a good, fast-paced FPS game right now, Unreal Tournament is in an open alpha, I believe. It's free to play. I recommend you do so if you're interested in this kind of a game. It looks great from Epic Games. So this type of game is still around, still alive. Doom's not the last hope. I hope, though, that Doom does come out and really give us a good, solid, not had since Quake 3 experience.
Right.
But we'll see. It's too early to tell, certainly.
Well, speaking of first-person shooters that are on the map right now, Fnatic managed to win yet another Counter-Strike title this weekend, but there's just one problem. The Swedish side can't beat Team Solo Mid. TSM were not in attendance at Fnatic's DreamHack Summer Victory and have knocked out Fnatic in 3 consecutive tournaments. Great win for Fnatic, but isn't TSM the real number one, Jared?
They are. Fnatic would have you believe that TSM and Fnatic are 1A and 1B. I don't think so. TSM has conquered Fnatic at each turn. They have proven themselves thoroughly the better team in the head-to-head matchup. They have won tournaments left and right now. It's a big change because TSM not so long ago was the team that choked. They were the requisite choke artist in the scene. Now they're number one in the scene. I've heard they need to win a major first. I agree winning a major would be great for TSM, and they should win a major to solidify that spot. But I think in the evolving Counter-Strike landscape, winning a major is slightly less important than it was before because you have big leagues like the ESL, ESA League, even CEVO Pro, Faceit League. These leagues are really important and have a lot of money behind them, it's a lot of prestige, and it might actually mean more because you're proving yourself out over the course of many weeks and even months before you go to the final and then really put your talent on the line, as opposed to, for example, an ESL major where you have, very short burst of games in which to prove yourself, and just one bad weekend can do you in for good. So I like TSM a lot. I think they found the kryptonite within themselves, which is just a great style of play they have, dynamic individual talent, and great improvisational leadership from Kerrigan, a player who can also impact the game dynamically with his own skill and ability. Fnatic just doesn't seem to have an answer for that. And until they get an answer, and I don't know where that answer is going to come from, they are, to me, number 2.
Jared, they watch these videos. You're supposed to give them the answer.
If I had the answer for them, they'd hire me by now, actually. If I was a new coach. Devilwalk's gone as your coach. They'd have me as a new coach if I had the answer for that. I don't have the answer for that, unfortunately. I think the answer may be they're just behind TSM. That's just the way it is. Fnatic, as great as they are, as much as they've won the past several months, they can't quite get past the new and improved TSM, and that may be the way it is for the foreseeable future.
And as great as the leaderboard is, it too must come to an end. I'm sorry you had to sit here and look at my ugly mug and not Meg Turney's, but at least you still got
Now look at her ugly mug?
My ugly mug,
Oh.
as opposed to her beautiful visage.
Right, thank you.
That's what I
Just
meant.
clean that up, yeah.
But, you know, you still have the benefit of this vast well of knowledge about esports. Thank you guys for watching the leaderboard. I'm Efren Salinas.
I'm Jared Wynn. See you next time.